Hello there and welcome back to my YouTube channel. James here as ever for today's ACCA Management Accounting F2 examination video, all about inventory valuation and management. If this is the first time you've visited my channel before, hello, my name's James. I'm an ACCA qualified member from the UK, and on my channel I help out ACCA students around the world pass their examinations, and I also dedicate all my videos to my lovely subscribers. And as you can see in the middle, Jathinder, thank you so much for your lovely comment on there. More than happy to help. So today's video is dedicated to you, and if you'd like access to all of my videos on the channel to help you through your ACCA journey, be sure to subscribe. The button will be at the bottom, and let me know in the comments below any other topic areas or what you thought of this video. I really appreciate it, and also give the video a massive like and thumbs up below. Thank you so much as ever for all the support. I'm so pleased that the videos are helping students around the world to pass their examinations. Now, for today's actual question, as you can see, it's on Kinco, about a single product on here. I've actually put in the description of this video the actual link, as you can see on the screen, where to access this. So again, it's all free, it's all ACCA based, and these would be the questions that I'd be doing if I was in your shoes and I've got to prepare for my examination, and I'm going to walk and talk you through some tips today that could be the difference in you passing it. Now, as you can see on the screen, it's a 10-mark question. So if you want to have a go at it yourself, you should be taking no more than 12 minutes because it's 1.2 minutes per mark. In the exam, you've got 120 minutes for 100 marks on there. So that's where it comes into, but for the purposes of the video, I'm just going to walk and talk you through what I thought when I saw this question, and then take you through all the answers to help you pass and think about what I would be doing if I had to sit it like yourself. So without any further ado, get yourself a drink, cup of tea, whatever it may be, and we'll just go through it top to bottom how to analyse this question. So first of all, as you can see, you'll have a calculator needed for this exam. With the budget of 0 for the channel, this is what we'll be using on my computer, but you'll have one in the exam that will be needed for your management accounting exam. And just going through, first thing before I even read any of the requirement, I'm looking at the actual units that we have to be dealing with, so thousands of, because one of the main reasons why people fail this exam is they don't write the answers in the correct format and units that they are looking for. So we've got opening and finishing goods, Q1. Again, production in Q4, thousands of units. We've also got budgeted cost of raw material, so maybe a few little calculations there. And it looks like we've got separate tasks, 4 and 5, that relate into this little paragraph on here. So mainly the information up at the top probably will need to be referred to, but the main bits of information are on here. With, again, finally in task 5, you can see there, 2 in capitals. Another thing they mention in the ACCA Management Accounting Examiner's Report, some students would just literally answer just 1 and they've not read it properly, along with, look at that, not to help them overcome problems caused by the restriction. But we'll come on to those later on. But noticing on here, there's no pull down answers, or there's no graphs or anything like that that I need to refer to. So this is where all the key background information up here is going to be so important to actually digest and understand what's going on. So let's just go through it if I was you. And as you can see on the screen, we've got Kinco produces a single product. Each finished product requires 3 kilograms of raw materials. The raw material costs $6 per kilogram. So if I've got a scrap piece of paper in the examination, I'm there thinking straight away, right, $6 per kilogram multiplied by 3 kilograms on there. So we need 3 lots of it. So in other words, the product costs $18 to produce on there. We're also given the following information, that Kinco prepares budgets on a quarterly basis. So you can see quarters 1, 2, 3, and 4. Each quarter consists of 13 weeks with 5 working days per week. Okay, so in that quarter, that relates to 13 weeks as a result. It is the company policy to maintain an inventory of finished goods at the end of each quarter equal to the 5 days demand, so that's 1/13 demand for the next quarter where possible. So hang on, let's just read that again so that we're crystal clear on this. So each quarter consists of 13 weeks with 5 working days per week. And now it's the company policy to maintain an inventory of finished goods at the end of each quarter equal to 5 days demand for the next quarter wherever possible. So an example of that would be that, again, use the words they've used, finished goods at the end of each quarter. So the finished goods at the end of quarter 1 are equal to 5 days demand for the next quarter where possible. So that'd be 2.275 divided by 13 on there. So it's just to put it in context as to say that it's the company policy, finished goods at the end of each quarter on there. So we then carry on going down. It is not possible to hold raw material inventory because it is perishable nature, so that means it goes off, but it is possible to hold inventory of finished goods at any level. So there's no ceiling on the actual capacity. Forecasted sales units for the next 4 quarters are, so we've got 1.95, 2.275, so you can see the figures on there. And then referring back to that $18 that you can see for the cost, it actually sells for $56 on there. Kinco aims to maximise its profits as a result. So we're being asked on task 1 on here for 2 marks, calculate the budgeted opening and closing finished goods inventory for quarter 1 to the nearest 1,000 units. So we've got the opening finished goods, thousands of units, and the closing finishing goods, thousands of units. So this really relates back to that key point that they made here about the finished goods and what they relate to. So the finished goods at the end of each quarter are equal to the 5 days demand, okay, for the next quarter where possible. So what that's saying is that looking at quarter 1 that we're asked for on here, the opening finished goods refer to either the previous quarter, which unfortunately we don't have the information for, or the first week of quarter 1, because they're equal to the 5 days demand of the next quarter for the next quarter wherever possible. So the opening finished goods on there, we've got to be referring to for quarter 1 at the start of the period is equal to 1/13, because that is 5 working days on there. So what we need to be referring to there is, and again, feel free to use your calculator, and again, just be careful with the zeros on here. 0, 1, 2, 3, and then divided by 13, and that is going to give us 150,000 units for the opening finished goods at the start of quarter 1 on there. Remember, think of it like in a little timeline that in quarter 1, you've got the start of quarter 1 here and the end of quarter 1 down here. So remember, the start of quarter 1 is equal to the previous period before then on there, but it's also the sales. Now with the end of quarter 1, that is equal to the sales of quarter 2. So if you want to jot it down on there so that you can maybe start to picture it, that you've got different figures at different points in time. But let's just get this down first of all, so it's nice and easy. So let me just type it in. So you can see on here, notice how I've just put in the 150, because we've already got the thousands given to us in the actual requirement. So do not write, and I'll put it in here so you can see it. The system's already marked it. It won't do that for you in the exam, but if I put in 150,000, notice how that's incorrect. So a student could know the answer, but because they've not read the question properly with the desired format, they wouldn't get the mark in the exam. So now coming on to the actual closing goods inventory for quarter 1. So we've done the start of the period, we're now doing the end of the period, and we know that is equal to 5 days demand for the next quarter. So end of quarter 1, we can refer to the start of quarter 2 sales in the same way that we've just done for the first one there. The actual closing for the period at the start of quarter 1 is equal to the forecasted sales for quarter 1 and what we would have had previously. So what we need to do there is simply take the actual quarter 2 figures on there. So we've got the 2, 2, and be very careful how you input this as well, not to get mixed up. 1, 2, 3, and then divided by, remember, 13 weeks in each of those quarters. So that gives us 175,000 units. So that is where, let's pop it in on here, we get the 175 as a result, and that is where, bang on, 2 out of 2 straight the way for the first question, task 1. So let's have a look now onto task 2, where we're asked about the desired closing finished goods inventory in quarter 5 is 150,000 units, okay? Calculate the budgeted number of units to be produced for quarter 4 to the nearest 1,000 units on there. So what we need to be doing there is working out we've been given the closing finished goods. We need to work out what the opening actual inventory was for that period. So we've been given the closing. We know the budgeted sales for throughout the year, but we need to work out what was the opening. And the way we do that was exactly the same way we did it for Q1 on there. So have a think to yourself, which of these figures am I going to take on here? And again, if you want to have a go at this question beforehand, feel free to. So I'm going to take the 2275, and this is for quarter 4 on here, 0, 0, 0. I'm going to divide that by 13, and then that is my opening position for quarter 4 on there. Okay, that's the opening position for quarter 4. So the key formula that you need to get down now here is that we're going to take the sales plus the closing minus the opening, and then that is going to give us the budgeted production for that quarter 4 period on there. So we'll just work it through as we said on there. So we're going to take the 2.275, remember the 175,000. I mean, I would write it down, but we've got to do it on the computer like this. So let's do it. So for quarter 4, 2275 on there, 1, 2, 3 on there. So then we've got to plus the closing, which we were given, 150,000, and then minus what we just calculated, the 175, and that gives us our production for quarter 4. Now notice again how we've been given it in thousands of units. So my answer on there is going to be 2,250. Rock and roll. Look at that. It's quite difficult when you're going one to the other on there, but I hope it's coming across. You know, just try and walk and talk it through what's happening in each of the different scenarios. Because one of the main areas that students fail this exam, as we talked about, is just not understanding what's going on in the question. Task 3. Kinko budgets, and again, be careful with budget and what actually happened, to produce 3.175 units in quarter 3 to meet the sales demand and to achieve a closing finished goods inventory of 175,000 units. What is the budgeted cost for the raw materials usage for quarter 3? And this is where you've got to be savvy, and when you read it to yourself, notice, you see, right, budgeted cost, budgeted number of units produced. And you're going to say to yourself, right, this is the number, 3.175 million units, budgeted to produce. But another giveaway here is, notice the dollar on the side there. So that 3.175 million is the units, but we need to convert that into the cost now associated with it, with no implications of that 175,000. So let's head over to it. I mean, keep it simple. Arc back, think to where you've seen how much these units cost. And it was that little sentence up at the top that we need 3 kilograms of raw materials per product, per budgeted unit, and they're going to cost us $6 each. So as you can see on here, 3,175, 000, multiplied by 3. So the 3 comes from, just to be clear, that 3 kilograms. You can see from my mouse on there that each unit requires, and then multiplying it by the actual $6 on there, which is going to cost us. So overall, it's going to be 57,150,000, or 57,150 million, whatever it is on there, how you want to talk it through. I I just wanted to say it as in I'm taking out those thousands at the end, not to confuse you. That's the key thing on here. So my answer, as we go through this now, is going to be, as you can see, so nice and easy, 57150 on there. So that is where it comes from on the calculator, taking out the actual figures on there. So I know it got cut off as you went through, but just to reiterate, 3175, just quickly doing it for the video, just in case anyone goes, James, where did that figure come from? That's where it came from on there. So the 57150, and then we don't need to put on the 3 zeros for the thousands on the end. Okay, super duper. All good, crystal clear. So taking that now down to tasks 4 and 5, and you can see a bit of a paragraph on there, but I'm going to go straight to the task so I can understand what's going on. So task 4, calculate a revised closing finished goods inventory for quarter 3 to the nearest unit, taking into account the restrictions on the raw material supply. So something is happening in this paragraph to restrict what we were talking about before. So the company's raw material supplier has informed them that due to restrictions on the manufacture of the material, the supply of the company would be restricted to 6.6 million kilograms per quarter. So per quarter, so quarter 1, 2, 3 and 4 for the foreseeable beginning from quarter 1. Kinco decides to purchase the maximum amount of material available in each quarter, so that 6.6 they're gonna buy, and build up inventory of finished goods wherever possible. So if you've got anything left, carry it forward into the next period. Under these restrictions, the budgeted opening fixed goods inventory for quarter 3 will be 325,000 units. So calculate the revised closing finished goods inventory for quarter 3, okay, in terms of the actual quantity for the raw material supply. So you've got to think to yourself, 6.6 million kilograms per quarter, and we know that for each unit to be produced, we need 3 kilograms. So my first thing there is, I'm going to get the calculator up so you know where all the figures are coming from. So there's 6.6 million on there, divided by the 3 kilograms. So each unit, so the maximum, number of units that we can make per month is 2.2 million. Now, say hypothetically that we've got the extra 325,000 on there as well for the opening finished goods of quarter 3. So plus 325, 1, 2, 3, gives us a total number of units that we can produce based on these restrictions to be 2.2525000 on there. The reason that why I'm making this point is, can you see how it says to the nearest unit in brackets? So you've got to be careful that it may want you to be rounding up decimals here. However, just think more logically as to say, right, that figure on there, the 2.525 million, how much are we actually going to sell in quarter 3? So back up to the top on here, quarter 3, we're looking at selling, forecasted sales is 3.250 million, whereas we can only produce 2.525 million on there. So based on the revised restrictions and based on the predicted sales figures, we're not going to have any units at the end of the day because we are selling more than we are making. So mine on there for task 4 should be 0 as a result. Lucky we got the 2 out of 2. But just see how we walked and talked it through logically, that is where it's definitely going to benefit you in your exam. And then finally on there, we've now got the final piece at the bottom, notice the capitals, as to which 2 of the following would not help Kinco overcome problems caused by the restriction in raw material supply on there. So again, just read it through, notice the 2 and the not, so would not help them overcause the restrictions in the raw material supply. So in other words, we need the quantity to be going up to actually maximize this, what is going on here. Okay, what we're looking at now, so we've got using the economic order quantity model, seeking alternatives of supply, requesting a trade discount, and more efficient use of material. So remember, these are things we're looking for that won't help it. Well, you've got to say, first of all, seeking alternatives sources of supply would help them find more material to meet the demand. So I'm not going to be ticking that one on there. The actual economic order quantity model up at the top is all about, and this is where if you want to have a look at the core text, it's one of those theories that you need to know for the actual examination. I've put all the recommended text that I'd look at in the description of this video, so make sure you check it out on there. But that's all about saying what is the optimal level of actual quantity that we should be buying in order to minimize costs. It's a theory, or a model should I say, not about increasing the amount of quantity and supply into the business. So that is definitely going to be a tick on there. Now don't panic, I know it hasn't flipped onto anything there, but we need to get both of them right to get the 2 marks. So our final 2 options are about requesting a trade discount or more efficient use of material. So one is a actual supply effect and one is a monetary effect. And this is where requesting a trade discount still leaves us with the same amount of materials but at a lower cost. Whereas more efficient use of the material is taking that same material and then trying to increase the amount of quantity we can produce. So therefore you've got to say, well, which 2 of the following would not help overcome the problems caused by the restriction in the raw materials side? And that is where requesting the trade discount will make it cheaper for us, but will not increase the level of quantity. 2 out of 2 for you. And that is how you go through a nice 10-mark question all about inventory valuation and management that you could expect to potentially see in your management accounting exam. So Jafinda and everyone else who's still watching at this point, I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please be sure to give it a massive like and thumbs up below. I really appreciate all the support for the channel, and leave me a comment how you get on in your exam or what you thought of the video, any other requests. More than happy to help, and I'll be sure to answer them down there. And of course, make sure you subscribe below, hit the button with the bell so that you get updates on all of my free resources and videos so you don't miss out on any, because as you know, it could be the little difference in getting those extra few marks to help pass your next exam. But as always on that bombshell, we'll see you next time. Cheers!